I've got an idea to do something a bit different today. I'm going to let the protesters at the rally tell their own stories. Something they rarely get to do. Let's see if it's radical. Well, we've made it to Canberra. A bit worried as to whether we'll find our bus again at the end of the day. We'll join these people going, we're not exactly sure where. Actually, finding our bus will be helped by some truckers nearby who are rehearsing their Canadian Symphony and will be at it all day.
What started you off?
What started me off?
Yeah. What?
Since the construction lockdown, I was in construction and then out of work, and then I was also very hesitant on the whole thing because it just didn't add up. So I
You smelled a rat.
Smelt a rat, and as everyone was saying, they say, do your research, you know, ask a doctor. And I was like, all right, I'll do my research. The only problem is you can't ask a doctor because they can't tell you anything.
Exactly.
Because they'll get the sack if they tell you what they want to tell you or what they really think. So that's a red flag in itself. And if you don't think that that's questionable, then I don't know, you're pretty gullible. You just follow anything, or you just don't care enough to think that a problem is going to be a problem for you later on. So.
Excuse me, what made you come today?
We Polish.
That's good.
Yeah, we Polish. We fought our freedom with the solidarity movement.
Good.
Our parents were in prison fighting for freedom of our country in the middle of Europe. So we're here to support Australia.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yep. Can I see the song again?
Of course I'm biased, that's obvious, but I've been making documentaries for 50 years and I think the reality pulls you into line if you're a real documentary maker. You just can't help reporting the actual vibe, the actual reality of the situation that you're in.
What are you guys doing? You're giving water, are you?
Yeah.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, we're just handing out water, bananas, biscuits. Anyone want some fruit, biscuits? Here you go. Some fruit and biscuits.
So what brought you folks out today?
For the kids.
For the
and
kids.
For the job.
Look, 23 years in pharmacy. I worked through all the lockdowns. December the 15th, I was told not to come to work.
Really?
I'm just about the mandates, vaccine mandates. I want to go back to work. I don't want to do nothing.
What about you?
I'm here for the kids.
Right.
Don't touch my kids. I'm here for my kids. I have a 17-year-old who got double jabbed, forced to double jab.
Force, how was that?
For his job and to play rugby league. And fit, healthy boy, plays rugby league, had the jab the first night in hospital with chronic tonsillitis, acute ear infection. Got out of hospital 2 days later, back in hospital. Has been sick on and off for 5 weeks. 6
Really?
weeks, yes.
And you got a second jab?
He got a second jab.
What happened after that one?
Sick. He's been constantly sick ever since.
Wow.
When one person lights a candle, every wall is touched by the light.
Yeah.
The darkness still exists amongst the light.
We are on the fence.
You people here are all holding up motor.
3 weeks ago, I gave in my registration with APRA because I will no longer work in a corrupt and a coercive system. And we need your support. Please join up. If you're a health professional, join up. We're all volunteers, none of us are paid, but we are doing everything we can. Because I tell you, there are thousands of doctors around this country who are shit scared right now because they want to say what they want to say, but they can't say what they want to say. Otherwise, they lose their jobs like the rest of us. We are rising. The more health professionals we get, the more strength we have, and the more we can turn this shit around. So thank you, people. You are beautiful. Bring the love. Let's keep the love going. But let's end this shit.
There's an agenda, and we know that.
Yeah, and it's not a nice one.
No, it's not.
The fact that the basic GP relationship with the patient has been destroyed.
Completely. My family doctor, I've went to see him the other week for an exemption because we had COVID, the flu. I wanted it for my son, so he's not discriminated. And he didn't want to give a 6 month and only 3 and expected him to have the vaccine. I mean, he told me not to ever have the flu vaccine a couple of years ago. What's the difference?
Do you sense any hesitation?
No, he didn't like, when I spoke to him, I said, he told me, he goes, oh, you're naughty not getting it. I said, I've done my research.
Well, isn't that interesting? He would use a playful word,
Yes.
as if it was a game.
It's not a game. I know many people have been injured.
Yeah, so I went to see a GP early on because I had concerns as well, and I asked her about myocarditis, and I asked her about reactions with the ovaries and menstrual cycles and things like that, and she said, oh, with menstrual cycles it'll just be a couple of days and they'll pass, you'll get over it. And same with myocarditis. She said, if you get anything, if you have a reaction, it'll be a few days, you'll go home and rest and you'll be fine. And I was like, all right, well, I'm not coming back to you.
So what happened? Did you have a vaccine?
No, I didn't. I chose not to. Yeah, because I knew she was lying. I'd done my own research before I went in and hadn't told her that. But yeah.
Did it cost you your job or anything?
Yes, so I'm no longer working.
What were you
in education. So I worked right through the pandemic up until October.
Yeah.
I'm from Melbourne. And then as soon as the mandates came in, they said you can't work here anymore.
So you've come all the way from Melbourne?
Yeah, we've come from Melbourne. We only just met these people this morning.
Yeah,
so.
Really?
This morning,
Because Melbourne is more, Victoria's more severe than New South Wales.
Correct, yes.
We were
awful
3-4 months before anyone else.
Really?
Dealing with everything. Well, that's what I said. We've lost our jobs in October.
Right.
People aren't starting to lose it till just before December. I mean, just before Christmas or just now. You know.
Right.
They're only given that deadline. We were given that in October.
Here's a Sydney teacher who also lost her job.
Had any run-ins with your GP or discussions about this?
Yes, I've had a reaction to a jab myself, and I went to my doctor for an exemption, and she forwarded me to my dermatologist, who then said to me that I do not qualify for an exemption even though my skin will erupt, which has happened in the past.
That's what happened with the first jab.
That's right, yeah.
Really? She wouldn't give you one?
Yes, he wouldn't give me one.
He wouldn't, yeah.
He tried to ask a colleague of his, and the colleague said, no, you don't qualify. Skin reactions do not qualify for exemptions.
These children here in the audience, they're looking at us and they want to see what peaceful, loving, adult, sovereign people look like, what our elders look like. We are the elders. Our next generations are right now looking at for inspiration and for hope, and we will give them big, strong shoulders to stand on.
Do you think we'll see a movement here like in Canada with the truckies?
Probably not. These guys have turned out, own their own trucks. There's not a huge amount of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, mate. Whereas in Canada and America, nearly everybody owns their trucks.
So that's why we won't see the same thing in Australia?
We won't see the same thing in Australia because majority of trucks that truckies use are owned by corporations, not by themselves. And the ones who have owned them are too busy working.
Hello, Australia. I send you love and peace from Canada. We've all been watching what has been happening to Australia over the past little while since COVID started. And we've been shocked to see what can happen to a country that so many of us admire. Many of us here around the world have been asking, what happened to Australia? Where is the fight? Where is the uprising? Now we know you're good and peaceful people like we are in Canada. And we're thrilled that Australia is finally starting to speak up and make your voices heard. But please maintain your resolve, maintain the peacefulness, and discover the unity of Australians. This is peaceful. This is families. Everybody in your society should be participating.
Yes, what particularly brings you today?
I want to be part of a crowd that shows the government that we object to their current policy of closing down Australia, mandating vaccinations and discriminating against good Australian people who just want to get on with their job and choose their own medical history.
It's amazing the size of the crowd when you consider that supposedly 90% of people are vaccinated.
Yes, that's exactly right. Yes, that's right. But I do believe there are a lot. I have already spoken to people here who are vaccinated once and twice, and they're angry because they've done it under duress, and so you know. But the 90% figure, 95, just doesn't wash with me at all. I know, you know, anecdotally, just on the street, there are so many people that don't do it. I mean, in my circle of friends, hardly anyone has.
But you know, my circle of friends who I thought were very progressive people, because it seems that once you get the jab, you become a shareholder in the jab company.
Yeah.
And you know, they don't want to look at anything on social media that would discount their opinion.
Yeah.
They just stay on the mainstream.
Well, people find comfort in a position, and whether that position is right or wrong, they just find comfort and camaraderie, and to go out of that position means that they have to then actually address the narrative that they're getting, that their television could be wrong, their doctor could be wrong, and it's too much.
Oh, what is this party?
So it's Informed Medical Options Party. Michael O'Neill here is the leader and
Really?
founder.
Okay.
My name's Benjamin Fox, and I'm standing for the seat of Parkes.
Oh, great.
And my name's Michael O'Neill, and I'm standing for the Senate in New South Wales.
Oh, excellent.
IMOparty.com is our website, and we have we've been very active in doing a lot of research. We work with anonymous scientists who help us with our research. For instance, we've done a whole document on the conflicts of interest in the decision makers in Australian vaccine policy.
Have you?
And we've done it. It's up there. We've uploaded it. We've sent it to every politician up in this house. We've sent it to all the media outlets, and a few politicians have been a bit wow, but they're ones that we already know of that are sympathetic to our cause. Mostly it's ignored, but the research is impeccable, and we've shown that pretty much all the decision makers have serious conflicts of interest. If it was in any other field, if it was in automotive or gaming or any other industry.
What about connections with Big Pharma?
They all have connections with Big Pharma, and
I thought as much.
Yeah, they do, and that's the amazing thing. It's so corrupt, and that in any other field there would be people probably going to jail.
As we head back, everybody seems to agree that mandates make no sense at all, since a vaccinated workforce is just as dangerous in terms of transmission as an unvaccinated one. So why should people lose their jobs?
Tell me, I've been asking people about their relationship with their doctor, whether they've been able to have a serious, intelligent conversation with their doctor.
I've tried a few times, and I had quite a few lengthy debates. The advice from my doctor was, at the end of the day, one of us is going to be right. And I said, well, right or wrong, I'm not willing to take a risk on that. And he actually said to me, well, you know, do you really think that they've tricked the whole world? And I said, yeah, I actually do. I talked a little bit about some other treatments that have been banned, and he literally laughed at me.
Now, did you talk to him about early treatments like ivermectin?
I certainly did, yeah.
And?
He laughed at me.
Did he?
Yeah, he did. And he showed me some studies from overseas that he said were not reputable.
So you were telling me that the surgeries are mostly owned by corporations?
Well, they're owned, they're big chains generally now. Bye, guys. And they're, you know, all the medical centres. They're not like the old doctor's surgeries that were owned by the local doctor.
Yeah.
And that most of them are being taken over, and it's just a constant cycle of different young doctors, and they're employees, and they're instructed on to have short information.
Yeah.
But so it's a different recipe, and
Right.
it destroys the relationship between the patient and the doctor.
Right. And makes, of course, the doctor more pliable and more amenable.
Absolutely. Well, they've got to answer to a bottom line rather than a patient. they're answering to a profit margin.
Yeah. Okay. How do you know all about this?
Just reading incessantly and watching our
Right.
freedoms get eroded, and they attack everything, all that's good, all that they can use to manipulate the situation, they get in there.
Why do you think people aren't just asking questions? Because it's not that you believe or debate anything. It's just that I just believe, as you know, a young Australian, or not so young Australian woman, that you ask questions. You know, I'm blown away that so many intelligent people who I felt would have just asked. This isn't making sense.
Well, I think once you get a jab, you're becoming part of the club in a way, and you really don't want to hear anything that might suggest to you that you've made a silly choice.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
once you're in, you're in.
Yeah.
I have so many so-called progressive friends, you know, who are furious. I have friends in Canada who are furious with the truckers, and they won't even drive up the road from Montreal to Ottawa to talk to these people.
Really?
They say they're fascists, they got Nazi flags, they got this.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, I think it's called cognitive dissonance. You know,
I think you've hit the nail on the head, hey?
I think you can't stand that. You
Yeah.
know? You happy with today, though?
I think today was wonderful. It restores faith in humanity. Good people. Yes, totally.
Foot problems, you're tired?
A long day, you know, but it's good feeling.
Yeah,
All these
very
people,
good. Wonderful day, yeah?
Support. You're not the only person thinking maybe weird thoughts in your own room. You realise that hundreds of thousands of people are feeling the same thing, seeing the same thing, believing the same thing.
Yeah. What I've been asking people all day, I'm very concerned about the doctor-patient relationship, which I think has been really damaged.
Completely. I used to trust my doctor, and he was my doctor for 20 years, and he was an elderly man, and we got on really well. But then, of course, he was told that he couldn't talk to me about it, so we had one unbelievably difficult chat about it.
Really?
And that was it. And he just kind of shut down.
I mean, all you have to ask him is what's in the vaccine, because they can't answer you, because none of them really know what's in it.
I think I asked him why I couldn't get ivermectin.
Ah!
Yeah, and whoa! It's like the N word in America. It's like, ho, 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 ho. But, well, he wrote me a script, but then, of course, I haven't been able to fill it out. Chemist Warehouse would sell it with a script, so I sent the script, and then they got back to me and asked me what the script was for. And I didn't bother responding because I had COVID a month ago and then I got over it.
All right.
Natural immunity.
Exactly. So what the hell do I need ivermectin for?
Water.
We got back to the bus following the honking. It's been a fantastic day. So inspiring. And I feel 33, not 83. I think the day belongs to the women. It's the women who voiced best their concerns, a sort of maternal wisdom. Women who I'll never meet again, probably. The women I've been so glad to meet. I have to admit that being involved in what I think is a just political cause is one of the most satisfying things in life. This photo harking back to demonstrating in Ottawa in 1970, meeting Pierre Trudeau, the father of Justin, unlike his son, who ignores the truckers. Bad move, Justin.